you watched the whole movie, we just talk a little bit about in the beginning of about the movie, and then just switch to general questions about education, about teaching, about inspiring people, and about women's role in the society. Okay, so okay, my first question was about Catherine Watson. It's the main character of the movie, and in this case, I would ask Amr uh, to tell us what was happening with Catherine Watson in the beginning of the movie.
Hello, guys. In the beginning, she was struggling with the student.
Amr, wait a minute, please. We can't see you again.
Yeah, one second. I will turn on my camera.
Okay,
In a
thank you.
minute. Okay. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there was a problem between the student and Catherine.
Mhm.
Uh,
When she Winsley College, what was she welcomed in Winsley College?
in the beginning, she wasn't. I understood.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And why? Why she wasn't? Why wasn't she welcomed in this college?
I don't know. In the beginning, the students they didn't like her, and they were a
Hmm.
little bit rude with her, especially if you remember in the first class when she gave the first lecture about painting and some pictures,
Hmm.
and even the students left early.
Hmm.
Yep.
Secondo, Angela.
Yep.
And so first she wasn't very welcomed in this because a little bit different. And Sergey, maybe you would tell us what was different about Miss Watson with other teachers.
Well, first of all, I think that she was from California, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a new, a different vision for studying, for especially for art studying, and uh, in her first class, she she was surprised uh, by the knowledge that the girl has. They
Mm-hmm.
were very educated, and they knew absolutely all the pictures that she showed. So to her, it was she was surprised, and but how was she different? She she came from completely different side of the country. She crossed all the country, and I guess everything was new to her, and she wasn't like other teachers that were
Mm-hmm.
more what's the word, old school, strict, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. That's true. That's right. So, Marcella, would you like to add something about Catherine Watson?
Well, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to see Sergey for the first time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Live.
Yeah, so nice to see you guys. Well, as Vika knows, I couldn't see the movie, I couldn't watch it, but
No,
I
that's
saw the
okay.
trailer and I saw like short videos, and
Mm-hmm.
what I could see is that she had some ideas inside. Like she wanted to, Vika said something like experiences, life experiences, like going a little bit beyond just the knowledge. In fact, I guess she had to take that path because the students knew it all when it had to do with knowledge. She even thought that the students had already taken the course, the arts course, because they knew everything. So what I can see there is passion, is I don't know, following her call, like her vocation, but her vocation was something else. Was not just teaching knowledge, but teaching her passion.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So okay. So the students first did not like the teacher because she was not as a usual teacher, and they behaved differently with her. And what was the most disappointing thing about students that Miss Watson have? Amr, maybe you would answer this. What shocked her when she came to this university, and what she didn't understand about these girls? What was disappointing about them?
As I understood, they were like studying, but all of them, they are just how to say, preparing to be housewives, not to participate in the society. Just they were prepared to be just housewives, and not, for example, to graduate and to have a job. They were being taught how to be a good wife and etc., and how to, you know,
Leaders'
bring in
wives.
kids.
Yes,
Yeah,
leaders' wives,
yeah.
not leaders. So she find it disappointed. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Especially because I guess they had this level, this knowledge.
Yeah.
Like she would have expected them to sort of pursue a career, because what's the use, right?
Yeah, that's the point. Yes, that's just she didn't understand why they actually went to the university and study there just to cook in and take care of husbands and children, you know. So that's and in those time there was a
Sorry, my question. This is a university, right? This is what they are doing is university or college or like
college.
high school.
It's like after this college they go to the university, something like that.
So this is college. This is like the preparing
college and the university, but still now Wensley it's like a college, as I understand. It's like a institute anyway. So and she was like it's Wensley College. Like let me watch.
Okay.
Because after one of the girls, she went to the Yale actually, and Yale is a university.
Okay. Okay.
So and Wensley College, it's about academic. So it's actually the it's actually the exists in the reality. So and they actually didn't like the movie in general. They thought that it was like was not an accurate depiction of the college and its traditions. They didn't like it at all.
Okay.
So let's move other about we are talking about 50s years in American society. So in those time women's role was a bit different from now. Yes, 1952 of course, and was a bit different than now. And what was expectation from women in these years? Sergey, maybe you would tell us.
Well, I don't know. For me, it was a surprise that the role of the woman was to find a husband and be a perfect housewife. It was really interesting for me to watch how it was. I think it was a true, right? So, like I said, I didn't know about this. I'm not good at history or any history at all. So I'm learning, and yeah, just 60 years ago, it was a huge difference. I can't imagine that it was like this in the US in 50s and 60s.
Yeah, that's interesting. And So maybe everyone from us would tell how things with women and women rights right now in our countries. It would be interesting. Who would start? Amr, maybe you would start. You have 2 countries to cover, right? Syria and Turkey, right?
Turkey.
Oh, you don't know? No.
No, I know for sure. I know about.
Okay, let's chat about it.
About the past, I don't know much about it, but now, kinda. I mean, women here participate almost in everything. You might find a woman working any place, public or private or whatever. But the past, I have no idea. Even in my country, almost the same. A little bit, maybe we are more conservative, uh, but actually, in the past, I mean, about my country, I think it was almost like the same in the movie. The opportunity for women is very limited. They cannot work in maybe just in certain occupations, not that much. And the majority of them just they were housewives, not more. Mhm. They weren't participated like in the society or in the politician sector. But now we can find women in everywhere and whatever the position.
So you were talking about Turkey or about Syria?
Both actually.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I see. So as for Russia, we can say that actually in the beginning of the 20th century, women took some actual part and roles in the society because there was the Bolsheviks came to the power, and there was women got actually more rights than women in Europe and in the United States. So it was a little bit different, and women were in some places were equal to men, and now we can say that there are many women in Russia actually in many work in many sectors and have leading positions, but still there are some kind of we have kind of perception that women are a weak gender and weak creations who need the help from a strong man, and only strong man could actually do the right thing. And whenever we're talking about the next president could it be actually a woman? For Russia, it's kind of impossible. Like wow, even in the United States, it's still impossible, right? To imagine. So in Russia, it's also kind of men are ruling, right? So something like that. Even among women, there is a perception that only men could do the right thing, not women. Despite we have more women in the population, and they are very active and they work and have families. So, but still, there is still this stereotype and perception that only men could run the country, right? So, what about you, Marcelo? About Argentina?
Well, we did have a president who was a woman.
Yeah, you have Cristina,
yeah.
But she was a wife of the previous president.
Absolutely, yes, and it was very controversial because she was a controversial. I mean, I'm not going to speak about gender right now. She was a very controversial politician, but also I think the fact that she was a woman made things more difficult for her because every time people wanted to complain about her, like they were always attacking her because she was a woman. I mean, like you could like her or not, but I think that this very attitude towards her because she was a woman speaks a lot about my society. My society is still very, very chauvinist. Latin American countries, I think, tend to be more chauvinist than other European countries. That's a preconcept. I don't know. You let me know. The idea of the man here is very strong. And also, when we talk about positions, still in companies, for example, I used to work in this company that is a multinational company based in Argentina. There were many positions taken by women, but at the end of the day, they had to quit because it was not possible sort of to put together both things, their lives and their requirements in the position. So most of the women who got to very, very high positions could not be cut to quit because they couldn't sort of find the compatibility between both lives.
Mm-hmm.
The traveling, or I don't know, different. For example, they didn't have them with the children. I don't know if companies should do that or not, but that's the reality, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what's good or what's bad. I'm just saying what happens.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the reality is that positions tend to be easier to get and to keep in men than in women.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but still there are some things. Then there is also a tendency that men take maternity leave with a or paternity leave it should called. Then they have children, and especially for instance in Sweden it's very common thing that men actually take this vacation for take care for their child, and they pay. And before they didn't have actually it, and it was like they have decrease of population in the 70s, and then the government decided to change it, and so we introduced this paternity leave. So and now it's like a common thing in their society. Of course, it's not like we have 3 years of maternity leave. It's too much for European countries. It's like wow. But in Europe, it's less, but it's they have more wage on this, more money. Okay. Let's Marcela, let's listen what man says. Okay, Sergey, would you like to add something?
I'm gonna try. For Ukraine, I think it's not very different from Russia. I agree that nowadays women have more or less the same rights as men, and we might have a woman as a president, and actually we have elections soon.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, and she as a candidate. I don't know, I'm not really into politics, but what I can say about, for example, I work at a government organization, and I see a lot of people, and more women get jobs, but most of them aren't they aren't in a position of power, but rather they do different things. Okay, let's be specific. I work in a main police department, but as a not as a policeman, but like an engineer and a network department. So what I see that more and more women came, they got jobs, and slowly they got the higher positions, but most the bosses, I just forgot the word.
That's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, they are men, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So okay, that's a good tendency or bad? What do you think?
Yeah, of course it's good.
It's good.
I don't see why women can do the same work as men. Not physical, of course, but in politics, in any sphere, then I don't mind. I think it's a good tendency. We have to have the same rights. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. We have only one restriction, I think, for women. Women can't be driver for subway train. You know, we have only one woman in Moscow who is a driver for a subway for the metro station train, because it's very dangerous. I think. I mean, I don't know really, or maybe it could be depressing. Then you just going under the surface, right? So okay, let's move to the to the teaching topics
But can
about
I ask a
teaching.
question? Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
of course.
Vika, what is
Yeah.
your how do you think women in Russia see the whole process? Because I still think that in Argentina we are divided. Like, I would say I'm a little bit conservative. I don't want to say that, but I feel inside me that I've been given a very conservative education. So I still find it hard to sort of come to terms with all the, not because I don't want to, but I see that I am still a little bit conservative. What about the Russian society? The women, I mean, are they into feminism, or are they
Oh
into?
well, very interesting question. So well about Russian women. So it's in general the most of the women, the most of the society is still conservative. It's still we have like traditionalists, and most of them think that the women role is just to be at home and make dinner and to take care about kids. But in the reality, women take this role because simply because sometimes there is no man there, right? Especially in
Okay.
schools. And as about feminism, we have in general there are not so many people who believe in it here, and in general people still think that women just it's just like a game. It's not like we don't restrict your rights. Do you want to have a children? Have them. Do you want to work? What's your problem? Women, just go and make dinner, right? So something like
Okay.
that.
They don't
And
take it
they
seriously.
don't. And with Me Too movement in Russia, it's widely misunderstood. People just didn't have any idea why what's the problem? What's wrong with you, right?
Mm.
And yes, we have it. As for me, I think that if we could compare men and women, I think I think that some women could not run the country really because have children, want to have children in their life. We still have lots of women who want it just to be a wife, just a mother, and that is okay because we need women who wants to raise children. That's okay, but we still have some women, but there are some women who could be great leaders, who could make a great leadership, and as well there are some men who couldn't make great leadership, but they still have this position because they men. That's the point, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see your point. Yeah, and also there is a lot about abortion, for example, in Argentina too. That is also connected with feminism. They wanted to pass a law to approve
Guys,
abortion,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't. But it also has to, it sort of has sparked a controversy, and it also has sort of made us think about it. Our society is super conservative, but I can see that we're going there. We are taking, or the most of our governments have taken these topics kind of seriously, or
Mm-hmm.
at least they have started to be taken more seriously, and also people in general are talking about this, not just like something like a joke, as you said before. I think it's becoming more and more serious, and I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. That's cool. So about us, we don't have restrictions on abortions. Actually, you
You
can do
don't?
it. Yeah, yeah, yes, you can do it. We don't have it. We are not a Catholic country, so
Yeah, we are.
it's not approved by the church, by the Orthodox Church, of course. But we have still many religions here, and it's still for some people it's a choice. It's just a choice. But in general, there is a people don't like this, then you go to have an abortion, you are not a good woman, right? So how you can kill your child, right? You have this perception in our society. In our society, the family is a good thing, actually. And if you have family, kids, you're great. So you're okay. So you're normal. If you have children, and that's okay. Okay, let's move to the teacher's topic. And I would like to ask you: have you ever had a teacher who changed your views or inspired you or make you kind of important, to feel important in your life? It could be in school, in university, and everywhere. Okay, Amr, let's try it with you. Start with you.
Yes, actually, good question. First of all,
Thank you.
I had really more than one teacher like that, but I want to mention my English teacher. First class I had it. I was in the 4th grade, as I remember. In the beginning, I was a little bit anxious, so something new for me to learn new language. I thought it will be very complicated, and I'm still too young to learn new language. But really, our teacher, she made us love this subject. Even I was studying by myself, trying to learn by myself, prepare before the lesson. And in the other side, I had a bad experience about French. Even she wasn't explained, she wasn't tolerant, and I reached a point that I start to escape when I hear French. Oh, I don't want to participate in the lesson. Really, I was escaping when we have a French lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, something else?
Yeah. So really, it's matter. The role of teacher very important to love the subject or just to not learn it, especially about languages. The thing is, in my country, and I think in many countries, for example, they learn English as a subject, not as a language, just something to pass the exam. Just to have a good mark, then okay, forget about it. They don't try to teach you how to use this language. What the advantages that you will gain when you learn a new language. Just they teach it as a subject. Okay, learn this rule, this grammar, blah, blah, blah. Learn this vocabulary and pass the exam and bye-bye. That's it, yeah. And it's really a huge mistake.
Yes, but I think it depends on a person, actually, what kind of person the teacher is and what she wants to achieve in her profession, in her life, and does she really want to share her knowledge to get the result.
Exactly.
In my life, I had different kind of teachers, and the bad one and one who made me cry in the lesson. It was a math teacher, and I hate him. But in the end, I became a journalist, and I met him somewhere in officials, and he was like surprised and was like, well, I got some position, in life. But my teacher who made me inspired, who made me realize my talents, my ability to write, to read, it was a literature teacher. She was actually so cool. She's actually was a university teacher, but she quit the university because of differences with the university I don't know how to say, officials, So, and she came to the school, and of course her level of education was much higher than any of school teachers, because before she taught literature in university level, So, and she made so many cool classes, like we have debates, we have different kind of and she taught us to not to write some kind of some other people opinion, but your own opinion. What do you think about the book, not what who other critics think about it. And and this is something which was actually in this Mona Lisa movie. When this girl, Joan, came to her and said, "You made me a free, I think something like G grade, not A, not the highest grade." And she said, "Yes, but because you just copyright the other
Wow.
opinion."
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hadar.
Hadar.
Hey.
Hi.
Speaking about good teachers. Speaking about good teachers.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was sweet. Hi
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
Amar.
Oh, hi.
Yeah,
I'm
you are
so
just
happy
right
to
in time,
join.
Hadar. We are talking about,
Oh,
we are talking about teacher who changed your mind or who inspired you. So and
oh
virtue,
wow.
and you appeared just right now.
Yes. Hi.
So
Yeah.
I want to listen a little bit, and I can share some things too. So who was speaking? Who did I jump into?
That's okay. It was me. Okay, as always, it's a tradition. That's okay. I like it actually that you appeared. And yes, and so I actually finished about teacher who inspired me in my classes, and we're talking now. Okay, Sergey, let's come to you. Did you have such a teacher?
I can't think of any teacher from at school or from university that who inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've had good teachers. For example, I remember I liked literature, foreign literature, and I like languages. Of course, English and Ukrainian, Russian. But speaking about teachers that inspired me, except of Hadar, which is obvious. Uh, this is my teacher from language school. It's been a year that I'm studying there, and she has a perfect pronunciation. I was so surprised when I first came to her class. I couldn't believe that a non-native speaker that I'm seeing right now and talking to her could have a perfect standard American pronunciation, and the fluency. It was unbelievable to me. And every time, every lesson I have, I enjoy it a lot. Um, so I think she is one of the people who inspire me and who gives me this motivation to improve my pronunciation. Specifically, it's not that I have this goal to get rid of my accent totally, but who knows? Now I know it's possible. It's absolutely possible. It's not something that I can achieve. So yeah, I can say that there are two teachers, Hadar and my teacher from Ukraine. Her name is
amazing.
Julia, and I I like them very much.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's fantastic.
Marcella, it's your turn. What about you? We can't hear her.
Oh, there's no
She's
better one.
muted.
Ah,
No,
My
now you
dog.
hear me. Okay. Go ahead.
you don't
My
want to talk.
dog is to blame. Hey. So teachers, the first teacher that, well, I don't know, all my English teachers inspired me in a way. I think that it was because I had the passion when I was a kid. It was like English for me was maybe because I felt a little bit different. I felt that if I could speak English, which was a different language, I don't know, I would be like, it was on the lines of my personality, I guess. So that's why English was so important for me, and I felt so identified with English. So all my teachers, when I was a kid, all of them were I look up to them, or they were what I wanted to be. That's why I became a teacher. And then I had a history teacher. She made me love history when I was at school. She treated us, she encouraged us to take notes, and she sort of gave us this feeling that we were grown-ups and that we could sort of deal with our own studying, and so I felt I was like a grown-up when I was in her class. So I like that about her. I love history now. And then Hadar. Well, when I met Hadar, I said it in many videos, I was stuck in a rut.
Having humor here, yes.
Yeah, I have to keep on practicing my 30 days. Well, I think that she motivated me in the first place. But what is even more amazing is that you, Hadar, you motivate people in general, because we are a lot of people here. And whatever is, I know it's also because of us, but you are the engine, you know, and that is something that I admire. I think that I have a teaching vocation, and to see that in a person that is so generous and so, you know, happy for us, because it's not just teaching, it's this thing of being happy for the other, for providing the tools, and that is amazing. When I do it, I feel so happy. When my students tell me, you know what, I'm going to share this one. I had this student, she's in Madrid now, and she sent me a message, and she's like, Marce, I'm speaking in English, and I'm making jokes in English. And she was happy, and that happiness is something that I think it's what you, Hadar, do, and that's why you inspired me.
Wow.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
That's amazing. I'm just gonna say one thing about what you said and what about what Sergey said. That, you know, I've been, before starting this group, just about the fact that what you said, Marcelo, that it's you guys, and for me, what inspires me. Okay, so like I can't think of any English teachers that inspired me. My speech teacher, and I'll talk about her later, she did inspire me, but I never, like, all my English teachers were pretty terrible. And for the past, and as a teacher, you know, I've been working with a lot of people that work in high tech and in fancy companies and CEOs and actors and everything. And, you know, I was stuck in a rut too as a teacher, because I felt like they all wanted to learn, they all improved, but they lacked the passion, like that. Oh, I'm giving them something, and then they would like take it and chew off my hand, just trying to give it to them. And I didn't see that for years, you know. And all of a sudden, I'm opening this group. You know, we started as a 5-day challenge, and then starting to do different things. And I see this passion. I see people are just like eager to learn and to know. And it doesn't matter whether it's free or paid or not. Like, all of a sudden, it inspired me as a person and as a teacher. And this is why I think it was so magical, everything that happened. And because you guys were inspired and motivated, you kept inspiring and motivating each other. It wasn't just me. I was like, you know, it was just the right time, the right place for everyone together to come together. You know, Sergey, I watched your video of what you said, you know, on Luciana's post. And I don't know if you saw my comment, but it was just like, I think it was also, whatever's going on here is very moving and inspiring, because we are all in the same zone. Doesn't matter where we are at in the world, like this learning and inspiring zone and frequency. And this is why it all works so well. So, as you know, all the beautiful things that you say about me, I have to say, all goes back to you, you know? So thank you. And I think this is what I learned from my students and from my, you know, so I definitely do. And I feel like I have grown as a teacher because of you guys so much. So thank you.
No, thank you too. Yeah. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. My boyfriend just recently asked me if I improved with my English because of my university, or I said no. It's because Fluency Challenge, really, because I drop all things, you know, just work and everything, and do this and make these videos, you know, and it was it, you know, when you really want to write, to do this, it was it, and that's what made the difference. That's true. That's we all experience here. Absolutely. And okay, next, the next question is what qualities you think the person should have to be a great teacher? Amr, let's start with you. From you, sorry.
Okay. Okay, it's a good question. Should be passionate about what he's teaching, not just, okay, I want to give a lesson and take my salary in the end of the month. No, not like that. Really, they should understand and like what they are teaching and try to deliver the information in a good way to the students. Not all the students are alike. They should have a good, very good communication, strong communication between the student and the teacher. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
No, not really. Not really. This is what really I like about Hadar. Actually, she inspired me as a teacher and as a human. Like, I noticed how she interact with the members in the group on YouTube, and how she try to help everyone here. She is not like some people. They are kind of ignoring, just make videos and that's it. But really, she try to help, try to interact, try to reply. Like, I haven't met any YouTuber or a teacher that try to reply for every question, everything. Yes,
That's
and
true.
really, by the way, when first once I made a video how I met Hadar, it was from a friend. He's Italian, and his accent was almost perfect. And I asked him, please help me. I want to a channel to improve my pronunciation and learn phonetics and do stuff. He suggested me Hadar. And in the beginning, I didn't notice at all that she is not a native speaker. After a couple of yeah, she mentioned that she has been to the US, then she came back to her country. Oh, is she not native speaker? Really? Then I know. Then like I searched more, and I knew that she is not a native, and that made me how to say, want to learn from her more, because for someone that he is not or she is not a native speaker and speak with this perfect pronunciation, that means she knows a lot how to learn and how to be in this level. More than for me, I prefer someone like Hadar more than a native speaker, because she's been in this process, how to learn, how to make those sounds. But a native speaker, they just acquire it, like, it's their mother tongue. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
that's
very much.
Thank you so much.
So, Sergey, maybe you would tell us something. The question was about what qualities a person should have to be a great teacher.
From my students' point of view, first of all, it must be patience. A lot of endless patience.
For sure.
Because sometimes, or I think it's often, is difficult to work with a lot of students, a lot of different people, and so yeah, patience is number one. Second is it must be love for the topic, love for the language, because it shouldn't be like a regular work when you just go, you talk with people, you teach people, and you get your monthly salary and like that. Isis told us about teachers in Canada, native speakers. For them, it's not their passion. They don't live the language, because I can't say it's bad. It's just like that for a native speaker. It's, I guess, but maybe among a native speaker teachers. There are those who love the language, who love teaching, like just because all we people different and we have different approaches. What else? I think great teacher should be a little bit of a psychiatrist and understand all these subtle relationships, all read between the lines, understand what students can leave out, and sometimes I see that, for example, the student from my group is just you can see it from emotion, from facial expressions, from non-verbal communication that something is wrong, that somebody is not in the mood. I mean, it's really difficult from the teacher's point of view. I just can observe these things and try to understand that it's really difficult job. That's what I'm sure.
Oh yes, that's true. And I could say that I think that I saw many inspiring and great teachers mostly in the private sector. But when we're talking about normal schools, they don't, like, even in Britain, they actually confessed, some British teachers in our private school, language school, said that they didn't want to work in schools because children are awful and we don't want to teach them, you know. Yeah. And we want to teach someone who wants to learn, right? It's easy, yes, but I think we need more inspiring and really great teachers in normal schools, you know, because there are so many children, and I could say in my experience also, I've had some bad teachers who made you feel awful, right? Who made you feel stupid and silly, you know, and it's not good, of course. And I think it mostly depends on a person again. It's about attitude. It's about your goals in life. It's about your way of life, how you want to live in this world. Okay, Marcela, your turn. Marcela.
Well, so I would agree. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you guys. First of all, like, I don't know if this is the right order, but what comes to my mind, knowledgeable, that's important. You have to know what you're teaching, because it's not just having the charisma or the personality, but also knowing, because that also shows respect for your students, right? Just you need to know. Then you need to be empathetic. And also, you need to be a little bit of a, I don't know what the word is, but you need to read between the lines and see how you can connect with a student and go there, and that's the way you motivate. Like, try to see that little soft spot that everybody has, and that's the way that you need to connect. And once that connection is made, everything just flows, you know, everything is done. Then it's just a matter of teaching and saying, but first you need to have that sort of code that in which the person maybe will not like what you're teaching, because I've been there, like many students not liking the language, but at least, you know, finding it useful, or finding it, I don't know, it opened a door, or they could make a joke or something in which they can connect with whatever you're teaching in a positive way. So if you can get to that, if you can do that, things just flow. And also, I think that, speaking about respect, sometimes I've been there. Like, if I feel I'm not going to be able to teach or to give what the other person needs, also say, you know, maybe this is not going to work, or I cannot give you what you need. I think that also is part of being responsible for what you're doing. And if I have had students who wanted to do, I don't know, scientific English or something, and I'm not that type of teacher, if I want to start inventing or just don't know. I think it's a lack of respect sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hadar, maybe you would tell something?
Well, I think you all had such a beautiful discussion, and I think you all said all the most important things. I would just add to be as present as possible, not come with an external agenda of what's going to happen, and always be super attentive to what's going on, what are the needs, and exactly also what Marcella said, to find the student where they're at, and not come with my own direction, hoping everyone will join in. So always be super attentive, be able to transition or shift away from your original plan according to what's really happening. I think it's relevant for every part of our lives and relationships and of course when you're teaching. And also the sense of innovation, like there is always something new because it keeps everyone else engaged and interested and curious, and also yourself as a teacher. And when you're passionate and when you're trying out new things, then it shines through and it comes across. So I think these are the last two things I would add to all the beautiful things that you all said.
No, thank you very much. So it's kind of come to this term that we actually most of people didn't watch the movie, so we started talking about general things before, and it's kind of the all things we want to discuss. But there is a question which we discussed before. It was a question about women's role in the society, and we talked about different kind of about different countries. Of course, it was Russia, it was Argentina, it was Syria and Turkey today. And it's interesting what's the women's role in the Israel society, and do we have ability to be leaders, and to have, and do the society allow them to be leaders, not only housewives, and just mother of their children?
Wow, this is a really good question. I'm actually thinking about it a lot recently, not just about how it is here in Israel, but in general in the world. I've been reading about it and researching it. And I think that in Israel, it's a lot more, it's very advanced, but there is no equality here, not yet, not in terms of salary, not in terms of same opportunities, not in terms of how the society perceives women. But at the same time, a lot of women do seek for work. There are a lot of women in leadership positions, but of course not enough, and not in politics. So the starting point is almost equal, but definitely there are a lot of things on the way, and we are far from seeing sheer equality. But at the same time, I can look up to a few female leaders here and say, wow, especially in the private sector, not necessarily in the public sector. In the public sector, where I can say, wow, these are some really badasses up there, and I look up to them. But of course, not enough. I will have to say goodbye to you all now because my girls I'm already hearing them crying in the back, and this is a tricky hour for us. But it was so important for me to join, and I love you all so much. And I will watch.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks
really.
for joining. Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
it's a event for us.
Pleasure. I feel like my heart is all filled up and warm right now. And I'll watch. And I think it's Landry just joined. So hi, Landry.
No, it's disappearing again. Okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, and I'll watch the beginning afterwards tomorrow when I know that it's on YouTube now.
It will be on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Sancho, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Landry's here.
Landry.
Yes.
Okay. Could you turn off your camera? We could see you.
My camera. No. Okay, my camera.
Because we can't see you. And so we are actually talking today about this movie. Have you chance to watch the movie actually?
Yes, for the second time. I'm trying to turn my camera on.
Okay.
Well.
So now only Landry will talk. And we will just listen.
Yeah, but it will be better if you had the video too, but I could talk anyway.
No, that's okay. So, okay, if it's a problem with the camera, you could just talk. We could just listen.
Yeah,
So my
okay.
question is, okay, what kind of question I would ask you? What you like or what you think this film about, in your opinion?
What? I didn't hear you.
What do you think this film about, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, yeah. First of all, it was about women condition. The way women were treated in the society, and secondly, it was a more general subject about people in advance on her time, on their time, because I don't know if you remember, but at the end of the movie, there were a very riveting quote that stuck with me. It was about, I will quote as that: "I've heard her called a quitter for living, an aimless wanderer, but not all who wander are aimless, especially not those who seek truth beyond tradition, beyond definition, beyond image." So that phrase, I think it was a good sum up to the movie, and I felt very. I related to that because I actually, to be honest, I even cried at the end because I believe I had some emotion to be expelled, out of my body, because it reminded me of my some past experiences. I didn't, how to say that, processed yet, and I think by watching this movie, for the second time, because the first time I watched this movie, it was maybe it's like 7 years ago, I think, when it first came out, and I didn't maybe have all the maturity I have today, and today I think I'm wiser. So definitely my opinion changed, and it was interesting to see that by watching the movie.
No, that's a perfect answer. Thank you very much.
You're
So,
welcome.
and did you have in life the experience like that with a teacher or with someone else?
Yeah, it wasn't teaching related, but it was, yes, personal, because usually the main character, Catherine Watson, her main problem, at least from the Wesley institution, was that she was subversive, and obviously they couldn't tolerate that in that place. And sometimes I felt the same way, because I'm just talking with people, and I just realized that my way of seeing things, it's totally the opposite of there. And each time I will say, okay, I understand that you and I have shared different opinions, but I'm very tolerant. But on the other hand, they are not. They will say, I'm kind of fringe thinkers. What I'm saying, it's nonsense, which I disagree with, because I think we are all entitled to our opinion, especially when those opinions are based on our experiences. So no one has the right to neglect or to refuse your opinion.
Yes, that's true. It's interesting. Yes, Betty called her
Yeah, and
subversive. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And but when she wrote that someone called her subversive when she actually left this university because they made her, but they offered her position, but with such
Yes, yes,
conditions
she
that
had to compromise
she didn't
herself.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
had to
wouldn't
compromise.
compromise. Yeah,
yes,
that
And
was
I
the
think
point.
it's one of the most important takeaway to take out of this film, because people, whether it's women or not, because I saw this movie as you know, general. It's in particular women, but in general, it's the humankind, you know. Because if you are somewhere where you don't belong, you just have to go away, you know. Don't try to compromise yourself, because if you start doing that, it will be at first little thing, and then, you know, at the end of the way, you will just have lost yourself totally.
Exactly.
And I think she got that, and she preferred to leave, even if at that moment she felt some sadness in her heart. But I think it was a good thing to do, and all people should do that. And what is funny is that the movie was actually in the US, but when you are seeing the movie, it's like it was in Europe. And it's ironic because at the end of the movie,
She went to Europe.
yes, which is, I mean, it's a joke because usually we thought American were those more cutting edge thinker, but at the end of the film, the director, who is a British citizen, it's almost like he was trying to say to people that sometime maybe the subversion, it's not where we think it is. That maybe by going in Europe, maybe she will feel it better, in a better way. Yes. So it was interesting to see that. It's original, I think.
Yeah, and I recall the scene. Then she shows them this picture by I forgot the name of the painter, of the artist.
Van Gogh?
Van Gogh.
Yes.
Yeah. She showed
Good
them the
example.
pictures,
Yeah.
and then she said that, you know, when he was alive, it was his pictures wasn't valuable, and people thought that she was a freak, was not a good artist actually. But
Yes,
he
right.
still didn't want to compromise, and he still did what she did, and in the end, he became the greatest artist of his
Yes.
time.
Yes,
And
indeed.
now people copy them. People who before didn't like him and thought that he was like something strange nonsense, and now it's like, so it's still, you still need time. People need time to
Yeah. They need
accept
time,
something
definitely.
in
Need
this
time.
society, right? And also the good example was when she was in this cabinet, and the headmaster asked her if she thinks that Picasso actually, she could compare Picasso with Picasso or yeah or Picasso
Yeah, it
with
was Picasso with
Michelangelo.
another famous. Yes.
Yeah, and it was like, it was 50, and it was 1950, so it was impossible for them to imagine that Picasso would be the greatest ever artist of the whole times. Now we know it, right? Before, and she knew it that in these years, you know, before all this coming, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually discuss everything. Maybe someone wants to add something about the film or about the topic in general. No?
I'd like to thank you because I like this movie very much.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange that I haven't seen and haven't heard of it before, and yeah, I liked it, and and, and that's all.
Okay. Thank you guys all for joining me today, and thank you for discussion. It was very interesting and fruitful, I think. And so see you next time, and thank you for coming again. See you.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot, Vicky.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.